Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS. In today's video, we're going to share with you guys 5 things that you should know before you start playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
One thing to know about this game is that it can be expensive.
I would venture to say it almost has to be.
Well, yeah,
almost.
Yeah, almost. Like there are budget decks and like that. Even then, it gets to the point where even staples themselves that have gotten a decent price on them to where
some stuff hasn't gotten reprinted.
Right, hasn't gotten reprinted. So things can cause for this specific combo in your deck to work, you have to have a certain card, and it gets expensive. And plus, depending on how serious you are about the game, if you are a competitive player, you have to put a little money into it, to reap the rewards as well.
I think I feel like another just thing that people forget about it is it's like any hobby that
right,
you do.
Agreed.
Like people always complain when like Yu-Gi-Oh costs a lot, but no matter what hobby you do, it gets up in price. Like
if you're serious about it.
Yeah, if you're serious about it, that's how it is. So there's this little struggle between like if you want to win versus if you want to spend money, where it's like if you want to win, like you probably have to spend money, and if you don't want to spend money, then you have to accept that you might not win very much.
As much, and there's always alternatives, but sometimes the alternative is never just as good as the original. So
right, and just one other thing I wanted to say about the price too is just that like you can scale your price with how much you care about the game. So if you don't mind playing Shino Birds or something, then great, that's fine. You can get like a Shino Bird deck for like $10, literally $10,
if not
less
than that.
Yeah, but at the same time, like stuff's going to be expensive. Don't disparage people who spend a lot, because that just means they're taking their hobby seriously.
Yeah, that's what they want to do, and
other end is the same, right?
Exactly. I don't have a problem with somebody that doesn't want to spend money, and just like and vice versa. Because sometimes I do spend money on certain cards that I do want to have because I need them for certain things. So
yeah,
but then sometimes I'm a cheap ass too. So
yeah, it's all a continuum.
Yeah, it is. It always is. What we got next?
Number 2 thing is not all decks are created equal.
Right.
I think this is one of the more painful parts about like that people kind of have to accept and come to terms with. Your favorite deck, whether don't get me wrong, a lot of decks are really unique and they're cool, but the sad truth is that like they're just not all created equal, right? And certain decks are just gonna do better. Zodiacs are better than Shino Birds. Like
and we keep using Shino Bird, but to all you Shino Bird lovers out there, it's not that we hate you guys. It's just it is a fair comparison. Like they say, Zodiacs is a very strong deck.
Digital Bugs, we'll use them instead. I don't know. Some other deck that's.
But yeah, there's some other deck that does not have just the power divide is obvious when you play them. I mean, and of course, every deck has the potential to do something. So sometimes you can catch a person off guard with ignorance or even just a cool little spiky tech, and you can even beat these high meta decks. But typically speaking, the way that the decks are designed, the way the cards are made, they're made to be much more powerful than other things. So
yeah, it's like in any given set, there's just going to be the decks that Konami kind of wants to push in the meta,
right? And
then there's going to be the decks that are almost made for more casual, more budget players. And I think that's actually a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I think it's good that a deck or a pack has something for everyone. Like you're not necessarily forced to buy Zodiacs if you don't want to, or buy like Invoked or something. But if you want something cheap, there's still something there for you.
There's many other decks out there for you. Just like I said, once again, depending on how serious you are about the game.
Yeah, you just gotta accept that not all the decks are made equal.
Right.
And not all gonna get the same amount of support.
Yes.
Basically, Arrow Mages.
So when your Shino Birds lose to Zoo, your Shino Birds that have been souped up to the utmost optimal build, don't feel bad about that. There's nothing you did. There's nothing that could have been done.
Yeah, the decks have limits.
They do.
Third thought.
Yeah.
You got it.
We'll see how I have it. But yeah, next the game is ever changing. That's one thing you have to understand about that. The ban list, just the power creep of things, designs, reprints. The designs, mechanics. It's just everything's always changing. Like just maybe a month ago, Metaphor was the top deck, and doesn't mean Metaphors is bad. Don't get me wrong, but Metaphors was the top deck. At least it was considered that on paper. And now we just a few weeks later, you get Vous, and now it's like. You see Metaphors everywhere, every now and then, but you see Zoo everywhere.
Actually, even the gap between that was like, DDDs, which for got all of 2 weeks.
Literally 2 weeks.
In the limelight, sort of, and then bye.
Where are you now? So,
and I like that you mentioned that it's not even just so much the meta, but, new packs always come out. New ban lists are always, the ban list can drop at any time.
At any moment, yes.
Power creep is real, this game moves fast.
It does.
What card is a good side deck card today won't be next week.
Yeah, next week is nothing.
You know, the deck that won YCS whatever might not even make top 32 at the next YCS.
Right.
Like, it's not a bad thing either, I would say. Like, I think that the fluidity is kind of one of the charms.
Yeah, it keeps it from being stagnant, and I agree with that.
Because there are some games that can get stale fast, right? Like, you know, but still, I just feel like it's something that you kind of have to come to terms with. Is like, you can't... YuGiOh isn't a game where... I see a lot of players who will say, like, have their Blackwing deck, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, they kind of expect it to just... As the game moves on, to always stay as good as it once was, or as relevant. Or, like, you know, they build Necroz, and then, like, it gets hit by the ban list, they're mad, but it's like, this game moves, you know, whether you want it to or not, right? Like...
It's all about adaptability, and you have to be able to adapt if you continue to choose to play, play the game. Like right now, we have Link Summoning coming out, and everybody's complaining about that. We had a lot of people that complained about Pendulum Summoning, and once again, we go back to our very first statement of how serious you are about the game. If you want to continue to play, then you want to adapt. Now, we're not saying that you have to, to move on to those mechanics, but understand that they will exist.
Yeah, they'll exist, and you kind of got to get to, you at least have to learn them.
Right, at least
that's actually one thing that I've always said. With, like, you know when people complain about synchros and pendulums and all that stuff, even if you don't want to use the mechanic, just know how it works. Right. That saves you trouble. Yeah. Like, so you don't have to deal with, like, oh, these are ranks, not levels, and materials count as this, and these go to the extra deck in this situation, not in this. So, you know, if nothing else, even if you don't know the new stuff, or even if you don't, like, use it, know it.
Know it does, right. It also, once again, it also helps you to combat it as well. So if you want to play against it, you will know how to stop it because you know what it does.
The fourth one is that this game can be a little confusing. Actually, a lot of confusing, to be perfectly honest. Rulings don't always work how they kind of you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, card wordings don't always make sense. Now that said, you have a responsibility to at least read your own cards and know.
Oh God, yes.
You know, so not absolving you of any responsibility there, but just know that, you know, sometimes this game, like, you'd think Thunder King could contribute itself to negate X thing, but it can't, and once you learn some of this stuff, it's fine. Yeah. Right, like, you know, Thunder King and, like, Blackhorn, that's always been one of the hardest ones to get people to sort of wrap their brain around.
And then there was also the thing in regards to what you said, and we try not to use specific terms that are irrelevant, but there was a thing of inherent summoning as opposed to summonings that start a chain, and inherent summoning is not the correct term, but we're going to use that now. It's just kind of it's the go-to.
Accepted term.
Yeah, but and we will say that Konami has tried to do a little bit better with like the new printing of cards, where they have tried to put more problem-solving card text on the cards, so you know what's the cost, you know what's fully effect and things of that nature. So they've gotten better with that, but even then, some things are just worded weird for the players. And it's confusing. Like I know when number 38 or whatever, Titan, the Harbinger, whatever, came out, it pretty much said, you know, you can negate the spell or an effect, and everybody thought that effect meant any effect, so including monster effects. So that was like an original issue that we had with that card. Yeah, you know, so things like that. I think
all of the, you know, with this game, it's not. I don't want to say like it's not easy to jump into, but you know, there is a kind of a skill floor. Right.
I don't feel like it's easy to jump into fast. Personally, I don't feel like at this point, you know.
That's true.
I feel like you
maybe
can jump
several
into
years ago.
Yeah.
Yes. These days,
not so much. You can jump into. I agree that you can learn the basic and things like that, but jumping into it like and completely competitively, I don't feel like you can do it that fast. Like, you need to know chains. There's so much.
There's so much stuff, and you know, each mechanic's got its own intricacies.
It does.
Like, you know, these Xyz materials, like I said. This isn't cards in the field, and these have ranks, not levels, and the pendulums go here when they get discarded, but if they die in the field, they go here, and it's kind of like, it can be confusing. That's not a deterrent.
Oh God, no.
It makes the game more fun, I would say.
It's a challenge, I like it.
But just know that you will have to figure some stuff out.
You probably won't come into the game being a master, just being honest. And I like to compare, I want to personally compare it to like Vanguard, because I play Vanguard. And I remember there was this guy, he literally had bought a deck 2 days before a regionals, and he got first place with the deck. He never played the deck. He just started playing that week of the.
Must be a simple game.
Well, it's not that it's more simple than YuGiOh. Yeah, it's a lot more simple than YuGiOh. And I play both of them competitively. But like I said, he even said himself, he said, I just started playing the game. I picked up the deck 2 days ago, and he got first place. And he literally said, I don't know how I did it. You can't do that in YuGiOh. I mean,
it really doesn't.
Once you get like to those few rounds of, you know, it's a 9-round tournament. By the time we get to like round 5, maybe round 6 and up,
people know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. They're gonna start weeding out, the weaklings, if I may say. So, yeah.
And you get the final one. The last sort of most important thing to know about this community before you take that dive.
Yeah, the thing that makes the thing that I think makes the game hard, not screw all the prices, screw the changing meta, things like that. The thing that I think makes the game hard and something that you need to know before you get into the game is that there is a massive, and I'm going to say massive, there's a massive divide. Yeah, it's a huge divide amongst the type of players that we have in the game, whether you're a casual player or you're a competitive player. And honestly, everybody feels like one is better than the other.
Yeah, so elitism runs rampant.
Rampant. On either end of the spectrum.
Between, the people will complain about power creep. They'll complain about prices. They'll complain about Konami. Oh, they're trying to ruin and kill this game. It's dead. But I think that honestly and truly, the hardest part about playing this is just dealing with the people, the people, the elitists, and they're on both sides.
Yeah, they're on both sides.
Don't be fooled into thinking it's just like a bunch of try-hard competitives who are they're the only elitists. There are casuals who will disparage you just as much for playing what you want to play.
Right.
You're being uncreative. You're on the bandwagon. You're a sheep.
Exactly.
Like you're just a try-hard. You don't even have fun with this game. As I always say, right? Play the game however you want, and don't hate the people who are doing the same thing you're doing.
Yeah, right. So, if it doesn't agree with your views.
If they're spending lots of money and playing Zodiacs and they want to win and they're traveling to events, that's fine.
On them.
And if you are spending as little as you can and trying to save money and just playing decks that are fun to you, and budget or rogue,
and you're enjoying it, then
A-okay.
That's fine too. But
it's the community divide will probably be
the hardest part.
It's the hardest thing to really deal with.
Personally, that's actually hard for me because everybody who knows me knows that I am a competitive YuGiOh player. But everybody also knows that I love to play jank decks. Like I own pretty much all meta decks. But if you see me playing just at any general time, I'm probably playing and I call it jank, but I'm just pretty much playing a non-meta deck the majority of the time, and so I get a lot of shit because everybody's saying you're playing you're one of those people who's competitive, but you're playing these jank decks with it.
Yeah, people get mad.
They're mad at you for
I just
it.
don't really you gotta accept this.
And
there's a yin and a yang.
It doesn't bother me. Don't get me wrong, but yeah,
there's a yin and a yang, right? Like it's the two sides of the same coin. It's fine to play one way. It's fine to play the other. It's the people who get really
right, they think their claws in. They
go crazy.
It's like pretty much it's bigotry, pretty much, and it sucks.
It's bad.
It is. But like I said, once again, this isn't to disparage anybody. It's just something for you to understand before you get into the game. Know that these are things that you will come across, and we just want you to know, we just want you to be aware of them and to understand, how to actually, to handle them when those situations come up.
And with that, we will let you respond to our chain. See what I did? I'm clever. Yeah, so let us know in the comments, what would you say are some of the quintessential, the rules you ought to know before, not like rules, but the things you should know before you start playing YuGiOh. The good, the bad, right? Things you had to come to that, yes. And yeah, we'd like to know, and I think that's going to be it. Oh, yeah. Follow our social medias and all that great stuff, TCG Player and great things. Subscribe for more YuGiOh, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.